Hey everyone, Master of Coinage here. I hope you're enjoying the weekend. So I thought I'd put together a quick video relating to my previous video about the upcoming Bitcoin hard fork and what I'm planning on doing in terms of capitalizing on this situation. If you haven't seen part 1, I'd suggest you jump over to that video to give you a bit more context and basically bring you up to speed again. What I'm discussing in these videos is highly speculative. As most of you would know, the crypto markets are extremely volatile, and because of the upcoming fork, things are less predictable than normal. Whatever you do, do not invest more than you can afford to lose. So to quickly recap, my crypto portfolio currently consists of 100% Bitcoin after I exchanged all of my altcoins to Bitcoin a couple of hours before Bitcoin jumped above $2,600. At this point, there are less than 48 hours until the fork. The Bitcoin price had consolidated for a while around the $2,700 mark, and then we saw a pretty big sell-off and a bounce back, which I'll discuss shortly. But as of right now, we're around $2,650 for Bitcoin, and the altcoin markets have been clawing back up today despite relatively low trading volumes on the exchanges. In terms of the Bitcoin dominance metric, which was going to be one of the main charts we were going to monitor to analyze the state of the markets, we saw a high of 52% for Bitcoin, and it did go just below 50% at one point as well. I wanted to quickly point out that I have been collating quite a lot of information and have posted a large number of links in the video description. We have links that provide some general information about the fork, some of the different announcements that have been made by some of the major exchanges and platforms, different Bitcoin wallets that you can use if you are interested in removing your Bitcoin from an exchange that will not be supporting Bitcoin Cash, to ensure that you are able to claim the Bitcoin Cash tokens that you are entitled to as a Bitcoin holder following the fork. I will continue to add more useful information as I stumble upon it, so feel free to ask questions or point out something that you think should be added to the list. Before I get into strategy, I just wanted to say thanks to everyone that has subscribed to the channel. I really do appreciate it. It definitely keeps me motivated to upload more content for you. It's also been great to see people that are a bit more experienced helping those with less experience. Lots of great questions are being asked. People are sharing interesting ideas and strategies. And some of you are really getting into the game theory aspect of what I've been talking about, so it's great to interact with like-minded people. Just quickly, while I'm touching on game theory, I think it's important to note that because of the circumstances around the Bitcoin fork and the fact that there is this timed large-scale event that's about to take place, what I consider normal technical analysis and chart reading is kind of out the window at this point in time. So it's up to us to basically work out what our next move is going to be based on the environment we're going to be in on the 1st of August. We can look at this chart and talk about ascending triangles and Elliott waves, and if you aren't familiar with those terms, you might want to look them up for future reference, but at the moment, the only game in town is the dangling carrot that's called Bitcoin Cash, the hard forking of Bitcoin, and how people are going to respond to the situation. Our goal is to be one step ahead of the curve and try to preempt the market and position ourselves in the best manner based on the most likely outcome relative to the reality on the ground in 24 hours' time. So let's go over some of the different scenarios. I'll start with the one I consider least likely. So what happens if the price of Bitcoin goes down significantly in the next 24 hours? So we did see a couple of pretty large sell-offs over the last few hours. The whales had their fun and tried to cause a bit of panic, but there was actually really strong buying support that came in and torpedoed that plan. And based on what I saw, I believe it's been confirmed, or at least confirmed to a certain extent, that there are enough people in the cryptoverse that are bullish at the moment, meaning it's pretty unlikely that the price will drop below the $2,500, $2,600 range. However, if Bitcoin does start crashing hard in the next 24 hours, it might be worth looking at jumping into altcoins a bit earlier than we would have liked to. So I recommend you start putting a list together of coins that have fallen into a price range that you're feeling good about. If the moment of truth was the present, I would probably jump into the Big Seven plus Monero, Antshares, Golem, and Siacoin, to name a few that are on the top of my list. The second scenario is what happens if Bitcoin shoots to the moon? Now, when I say moon, I'm talking about anywhere around and above the $4,000 mark. This might sound outlandish at the moment, but I wouldn't completely rule this out. If this were to happen, I would consider locking in some gains using USD Tether, or depending on your preference and personal circumstances, I might consider even going back into fiat And just in case you're wondering, I would be doing this prior to the deadline for the fork, meaning I would absolutely sacrifice the free Bitcoin Cash tokens. Remember, we're playing three-dimensional chess here, so our goal is to win the game, and if that means sacrificing a few pieces along the way, I can totally live with that. The rationale for the sacrifice is that if this scenario were to play out, we can bank on the assumption that a large portion of Bitcoin holders will be sticking around for the Bitcoin Cash tokens. Remember, we're talking about a $4,000 Bitcoin scenario, so since we've run up to a new all-time high for unnatural reasons, I'd expect a pretty severe correction following the fork. So at least in my view, our best play would be to take some money off the table and scale back into crypto during the correction. If at that point in time we find that there's also a fire sale in the altcoin markets, we should definitely try to capitalize on that as well. So again, if this scenario begins to transpire, meaning a combination of Bitcoin mooning and an altcoin fire sale, we should start thinking about what portion of our portfolio we would like to take off the table and what portion we will be putting into altcoins. Broadly speaking, the higher Bitcoin goes, the more I would personally take off the table. So scenario number 3, I'm still sticking to my original call, which is that the most likely outcome is that we're going to see a new all-time high for Bitcoin on July 31st or August 1st, but let's put this at a range of somewhere between $2,900 and $3,500, somewhere around that neighborhood. If this is where we're going to find ourselves in 24 hours, I will definitely follow through with my original plan, meaning a very aggressive play into altcoins, of course assuming that they will fall to an even lower level than where they were before this 5 or 10% correction today. So I hope all of that makes sense. I will try to put together another video tomorrow with a final update and a bit more information around altcoin markets that are looking attractive to me. I am working tomorrow, so at the very least I will post an update and some thoughts on Twitter. So if you are interested in staying up to date, please connect via Twitter, and please support the channel and click that subscribe button. Have a great week, everyone. Thanks for watching.